In your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, you deserve to live your best life. Say goodbye to preconceived notions and let's shatter those stereotypes together. Get ready to own your vitality because age, well, that's just a number.
Hey everybody, it's BJ.
And Ruth.
And we're back talking all things health and fitness. And today or this week, I just got back, Ruth, from competing at the UFE Worlds.
Yeah, the World Championships for Canada.
Yeah, so it was an amazing experience, I must say. I've everybody that's asked me. So just so you all know, I didn't place, so I wasn't top three. So I don't know where I fit outside of that I wasn't top three. But the experience itself was really amazing, right? As my first real pro competition, it was just such an amazing experience from all aspects of it. Great group of guys and ladies too that we, kind of connected with. We all connected, those that were still around after at the athletes party.
The international stage is just so different.
Yeah.
Great experience.
Yeah, so it really has been a great experience. And so, I sat down with my coach yesterday and we talked about kind of what's the plan moving forward. Where do I, want to be for competing again? And just for all of you that are watching, the way that I'm proceeding now is I'm taking the next 16 months to really focus on just mass building, muscle building. Anybody can add weight.
Right, but you want to add muscle,
or
else it's going to be body fat. There's a big difference there.
So, so it's really, figuring out where we're at and what we're doing. And what we know for sure, or what I know for sure at this stage, is I'm committing the next 16 months to really focus on mass building. And then we'll evaluate kind of at that point and decide, okay, so do I compete in 2027 or do I take another year for further mass building and then compete in 2028?
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I thought it'd be great to talk about my keys for mass building or my keys for muscle building.
I think it's great.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I think the thing is, this is applicable to anybody. I'm obviously 55. Maybe it's not obvious to you. I'm 55. So I'm going to build what we're talking about around things I know about my body. Mm-hmm. But the principles that we're going to talk about, I think, apply for anybody that wants to add muscle, and especially in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, because there's some things that we have to be more aware of that, in your 20s or 30s, maybe you don't have to be, right?
Well, exactly. Like the body in your 20s and 30s is so different than the body in your 40s and 50s and 60s. It's just very different.
Yeah. 100%. And, for me, I'm looking at an open competition. So there's guys in the show that are in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
And 40s as well. So, yeah. Okay. So my number one thing is we are going to take all my measurements.
Yeah, because you have to know your numbers. I have a lot of friends who always say, I don't want to step on the scale. I don't want to take the measurements. I don't want to know that number. Well, if you don't know the number, you don't know where you're starting from.
Yeah. And for me, it's less about the scale because we track that all the way through the diet and even my training process and everything. We always track my weight. I weigh in once a week with my coach. But we've never actually said, okay, now we're going to measure upper arm, legs, calves,
I've done
forearms,
that for years.
right?
Yeah.
I did it at one point, but what we're doing is establishing my starting point.
Your starting point. Yeah.
And if you're just starting out, it's always good to know. The point of knowing where your starting point is so that you can measure progress appropriately.
Yeah.
Right? So I can say, hey, I've added in the last 16 months, I've added an inch to my arms.
Yeah.
Or an inch to my legs or my calves or whatever, or I've taken an inch off of here, or I've narrowed my waist.
Yeah.
Because narrowing your waist isn't always just a body fat thing. It's also about which muscles are developed and those kind of things as well. So
that's right.
So that's number one, is I need to know exactly where I'm at so I can also gauge progress as I go, so that if I need to make adjustments because things aren't moving like we think, then I can say, okay.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, okay, number two, I'm going to go with a program that's basically built around compound movements. So back to, I was always doing some of these, but there's going to be less isolation work in my workouts. So what are the big compound movements? Incline bench press, bench press, deadlifts, squats, RDLs, Romanian deadlifts, chin-ups, shoulder press.
Yeah, shoulder press, yeah. Anything that uses a compound, what we mean by that is any exercise that's firing more than one muscle group.
Yeah, and it's a multi-joint exercise.
Yeah.
Right? And so one of the things that does, for example, is I can do less work, let's say, on triceps, because the big multi-joint moves are really engaging the triceps, bench press, inclines, and shoulder press, for example, are all engaging my triceps. Yeah. So when I get to the isolated work, I don't need to do as much for the triceps to be stimulated and ultimately to grow.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the big part of the training, is getting back to big compound movements, staying focused on those big compound movements. The other one, I was trying to think of how to best define it, but I said to somebody, I'm talking about future plans and everything. This is the way my brain translates it, is I just need to be meaner at the gym again, right?
Put your gear on.
Just, and really what that means is, for me, is I just need to bring intensity when I go to the gym, so that I'm here on purpose. I'm here to get to within 2 reps or less of failure on every work set.
Yeah.
Right? So I need to be dialed in so that I'm not just passively going through. You can go through the motions at the gym, and if you've been there and if you've been going long enough, you can go through the motions in the gym.
You can.
And still look like you're not.
Right.
But when you're mailing it in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there are days where, you mail it in and I'm like, oh, well, I got through it.
Yes.
That happens, right? But I think that's the part that for me is just evaluating everything, is the big compound movements and just being more intentional about it.
Yeah.
Right?
So often there's a mind-muscle connection. So you want to connect your mind, really focus mentally on the muscle group that's firing.
Yeah.
Pay attention. That's simple.
I want to be a little mad when I go to the gym.
There you go.
Or however you think of it, but it's really just about intensity. So
put your gear on.
Yeah, right? So, okay. What are we at? Number 3, I think?
3.
Number 3. Yeah. Two is compound and be meaner. So 2A and B, I guess.
Yes.
So number 3 is, you hear a lot of times about, when it comes to muscle building, about cutting out cardio. So, because cardio can be counterproductive to just straight out muscle building.
Right.
However, I will maintain 20 to 30 minutes of cardio throughout the training process. And
daily?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And that's just for my cardio health, right? My heart health. The other thing I found out a couple of years ago is I did a mass building run where, for it, I cut out all of the cardio and then reintroduced it when I started the pre-contest. It took something like a month to get my metabolism moving properly again.
Right.
So I don't want to end up in that situation again whenever that does happen, to get back to competing. But I'm going to keep that cardio component so that it just keeps my heart healthy, my lungs are good, all of those things. So. Yeah. I think that's just an overall health thing. And that's something I think that applies more as we get older, where we need to be aware of taking care of our bodies, not just adding the muscle part of it, but also as we age, our heart, our cardiovascular capabilities and things like that.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, number 4. And this one's the same always, whether I'm trying to add muscle or lean out, whatever, but it's quality nutrition.
What you eat, your diet.
Right?
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. We did that episode on how you can't outtrain a bad diet.
Right.
Right? And the 10,000 calorie challenge. You can go back and watch that. That was pretty interesting watching the 10,000 calorie challenge. So
yeah, food is fuel.
Yeah.
So you want to fuel your body for the workout. So you got to be really mindful of what kind. First of all, you want a full gas tank. Put the gas in the gas tank. Yeah. But what kind of fuel are you putting in?
Yeah.
Because if you're just looking at calories and numbers, a Pop-Tart is not nutritionally equal to a chicken breast. It's just not.
You think?
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. And the other part of the quality nutrition is operating at a calorie surplus.
Yeah.
So we being my coach and we know what my maintenance calories are. So we're going to operate at a surplus so that we have goals that we've talked about. Here's where I'd like to get to for adding muscle, like a number on the scale. And obviously, as a natural bodybuilder, we don't have certain advantages that you're going to have if you're taking gear of any kind, right? So, anyway, based on that, we're looking to be at a surplus on a regular basis, so that obviously we can see that translate into muscle on the body and should see it on the scale as well.
Yep.
Okay. So that's number 4. Number 5 is creatine supplementation. So we've talked a lot about creatine and the value of taking creatine. I take it year round, but I just was thinking about it, that's something that stays in my nutrition plan going forward, is making sure I continue to supplement with creatine. Okay. And then the final one is really, I'm really looking at the importance of rest and recovery. We've talked about sleep and the importance of sleep, and we're going to put a link into the sleep episodes, but I was just looking at something recently about another study that was done where the group that had less sleep, like by an hour only, there was something like a 30% difference in whether they retained muscle or lost muscle.
Okay.
So obviously the sleep deprived group lost muscle. So that was a pretty significant, I think it was 70% more muscle that they lost.
Big difference. Eh?
So for me, that's just making sure I'm in that 6 to 8 hour window. I'd ideally like to be in the 7 to 8 hour range, and that's what I'm going to aim for. Something else that I have never done that I'm going to do this go around is deloading every 8 weeks. And what deloading is just, it allows your body to recover, allows your body to rest, and basically cut back the weights, the reps, the intensity by about 50%, give or take, for a week. Right. And I just could never wrap my head around doing that because I was always
because you always think it's going to set you back, but if anything, it does the opposite.
It does the opposite, right?
It does the opposite, yeah.
So I can't overstate the importance of getting proper rest, and then also giving your body time to actively recover, which is the deloading phase.
So important,
right?
as we get older.
Yeah.
The body needs more time, and so give it the time it needs to keep pushing it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And so that's why I'm introducing the deloading for the first time in my training life, really. I have days off in my training cycle, which I take off. I'm pretty strict about that, but this will be the first time that I'm introducing that deloading segment to the workout as well. So that's my basic foundations, and I think you can apply those things for yourself. And you know what, if you're watching, would love to hear how you're doing it for yourself. What are your, what you have some things. I have these 3 things. I have these 6 things. I have these 4 things. Put it in the comments because we want to know. And maybe there's something I can apply.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Maybe there's something I can use or something that applies for us or for other people. So please put that in the comments. And if you haven't, give us Give us a subscribe for the channel. Give us a like for the video. Just helps us out. We are putting out piles of content. We want to make sure that we're getting good information out to everybody and want to make sure you don't miss anything. So thanks for joining us today.
See ya.
See ya.
See you next time.